comes to my view of orbs, I think it's important for people to understand how I approach orbs, my world view in trying to understand orbs. And everybody comes to an understanding of orbs through their worldview. That is, what lenses do they look through to make sense of the world? And I'm no different. The lens I use is that of the Bible. And there are just two things that there's many things that the Bible provides that helps as far as insight and guidelines and parameters to keep in mind when looking at the world. But there are just two important ones that I use that help me, that guide me on my journey in trying to understand orbs. And the first is this, is that God has created everything. And this includes orbs. And it's made very clear to us that's the case. And it's found in the book of Colossians in the New Testament, Colossians Chapter 1. And this is sort of like a mini sermon, but it's not long. But Colossians tells us in Colossians Chapter 1 that for by him, talking about Jesus Christ, all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and by him. And he is before all things, and in him all things are held together. So it's clear for someone like me, someone who's a Christian, that when thinking about and exploring the meaning and the nature of orbs, the very foundation of my understanding is that orbs are created by God. And there are a number of implications from that, but I'm not going to take the time to go into what that means. But understand that I believe, without a doubt, that orbs are created by God. Now, the second thing that the Bible tells me that I use in guiding me as I research and try to understand orbs is that not only did God create everything, but everything that God has created, and this includes orbs, tell us something about God. And that's found in a psalm, Psalm 19. And it says this: the heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky proclaim his handiwork. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, there are no words, whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. And that tells me that when I look at the sky, when I look at the clouds, when I look at the moon and the sun and the stars and the mountains and the valleys, everything I look at that has been created by God, which is everything, actually points me to God and tells me something about God. And as I research and look at orbs, that principle is true as well. The more I learn about orbs, the more I learn about God. And so those are the two principles that you need to understand as far as my perspective. That is, God created everything. That includes orbs. And everything God created tells us something about God. Now, what does it tell us? Well, that's a whole nother sermon. But anyway, you know where I'm coming from. And each of us comes from a perspective, and that's my perspective.